Hi, my name is Sydney, and I'm the host of the Stunner Safety channel and podcast. Welcome to our very first episode, episode number one. So, for our first episode, I decided to talk about a personal story that I had to do with self defense and safety. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this personal story is because I thought it would be a good way to introduce myself to you guys and to let you get to know me a little bit better. So, I'm going to get vulnerable in this episode. So, everyone, stay along with me. We are talking about obviously a very serious topic, self defense and safety. Um, but I thought it would be good to kind of talk about a story where yes, I did have to defend myself, but it's kind of crazy. Um, so let's just jump right into the story and I'll let you guys know what I learned from this situation. And hopefully, maybe we can laugh about it someday because it is a self defense safety situation, but it's a little bit crazy. So let's get into it. When I was in college, I went out with a group of friends to Sixth Street. It was me and two other women and another man, and we went out to have fun with some friends. And we were walking back after a night out. It wasn't that late; it was probably around midnight. And there's an area of Sixth Street where you all the Ubers pick up, and you have to go find your Uber. It's dark. There's a lot of people. There's not a big police presence, or at least there wasn't at the time, because all the police were actually on 6th Street. They weren't at this other location where all the Ubers pick up on 7th Street. So, you guys are from Austin or went to UT, you know about 7th and Trinity. So, that's where we were walking to go get into our Uber. And of course, there's traffic and it was taking a while. So, we started walking up the block to see if we could go find our ride, and there's a parking lot right off of 7th Street. And in that parking lot, there were cars there and people were getting into their cars and leaving. Well, this one truck was trying to pull out and he was trying to pull out over the sidewalk and curb into 7th Street. And so we decided to wave him down and let him know, hey, dude, you're not going out one of the driveways. You're about to go over like a really large curb where there's even like a drain right there. And so we were trying to warn him that he was about to do something dangerous and illegal by driving off of this curb. He sees us, we're waving him down, he rolls down his window. He's like, hey, what's up? We're like, hey, we're just trying to tell you that you're about to go over this curb. He tells us, thanks, great for letting me know. I'm going to back up, no problem. So me and my three friends, we start walking back down the street, thinking, oh, we just helped someone. That was so nice. Well, turns out we weren't really thanked the way that we thought we were going to be. Someone got out of the car that we did not see who was in the car and attacked me from behind. I know. You're thinking, this is bizarre. I mean, it is 6th Street in Austin, so crazy things happen. But no, we were not expecting to be attacked. Um, and so someone attacks me from behind. They actually punch my shoulder, and with their punch, it goes through my shoulder and hits the back of my head. I fall forward onto the sidewalk. And my friends are all in front of me. So they didn't see this person who did this. And the person kind of fell onto me a little bit, like with her hands, and then got up, and I heard her running back to the car. So I get up, I'm freaking out. I immediately start crying because I was just attacked. It was terrible. Even though I didn't suffer any permanent injuries, she did punch me and there were bruises there. And it was also the feeling of complete fear. Like, I didn't know who did this, why I was attacked, or if they were going to come back and hurt me more. Um, so I got up. My friends go up to the truck and they're like, hey, why did this girl who was in the truck just attack our friend? And they're begging us, please don't call the police. Please don't call the police. I don't know why she attacked me. We still don't know to this day why she attacked me. And we ended up leaving because we were afraid that she would maybe come back out of the car and attack us. So their friends seemed like they didn't want her to attack. They didn't understand why she attacked us, but they begged us not to call the police. And I did end up calling the police in Austin within the next 24 hours to file a police report with them and let them know what happened. So Called the police. The police took pictures of my bruising. They filed a police report. I hear nothing for a while. I end up following up with the detective who's in charge of my case, and I don't think he ever was able to do anything about it, even though I could tell them exactly what time it was, what intersection with video cameras it happened at. They never did anything about it. So my police report went unanswered. Nothing happened. She was not caught. She was not brought to justice. She was not charged for attacking me unsolicited. Um, it was a pretty unfortunate, crazy story. And I just like to point out that a lot of us women think that it's going to be a man that attacks us, which, yes, statistically, it is definitely a man. But this was a woman that attacked me and unprovoked as well. I hadn't even exchanged words with her. So just a crazy situation altogether. But there's some lessons that I learned from this situation, from what happened to me. Luckily, I'm okay, and of course, I did have to talk to some people about it, and it was difficult. I'm not going to minimize the difficulty and the fear that I felt in that situation, but talk about what I learned from this craziness. One, do not assume a woman is not a threat. Men, this goes for you too. Do not assume that just because she's a woman, she is not capable of hurting you and hurting you very badly. I would say that I've never really felt threatened by other women. I can't say if this is the first time I felt threatened by a woman, but it's certainly the first time I've ever been attacked by a woman. I did not perceive her as a threat. Her being in the car, didn't think she was going to come out and attack me. So that is a big lesson that I learned. Um, Number two, the man who was in the car, the driver, he seemed very kind, very friendly. And so I was assuming the people that he were with were also going to be the same friendly, kind people, not looking to hurt or attack us. Well, I was wrong in that as well. This is a lesson learned to everyone. Just because someone in that group of friends or someone you perceive them as a friend seems nice and is not going to hurt you does not mean that the other people in the group are nice and are not going to hurt you. That is a big lesson that I learned from this. I think you should treat strangers or people you don't know well as a potential safety threat. Not saying you should not speak to them, but I would say maybe keep your awareness more around people that you don't know well or don't know at all, even if they seem like they're friendly. Because I think people can turn on a dime. There are lots of instances of that, not just in my case, but in a lot of other people's cases where people will turn on a dime and you can't really explain why that happened. So that's lesson number two that I learned from this. Lesson number three, I was attacked from behind. Now, I carried pepper spray in college, which I think is a great self defense tool, but I don't think it's the self defense tool in every single situation. So, what do I mean by that? I think that to have pepper spray, you have to be able to see your target and have reasonably a couple seconds to be able to deploy that pepper spray. So, I like to say it is like, oh, it's from longer distance. You see them coming and you have time to aim and spray. Now, I think what would have helped in my situation is a tool for a person who's already on you, right? She punched me, punched the back of my head, then landed on me temporarily with her hands. I think what would have been a good self defense tool is something for up close. Now, obviously, you guys know I created the stunner. It's a 3-in-1 stun gun, pepper spray, and flashlight. So I am biased towards stun guns, but I think a stun gun in that situation would have been a really good tool because, say, I had it in my hand like you're supposed to when you're walking around at night, had my stun gun in my hand. I could have turned, touched her with the stun gun. Now, the reason I say touch, stun guns don't require physical force to hit someone else for the stun gun to work. It is a touch only. Um, Whereas other self defense tools like batons, Kua batons, knuckles require you to have that physical strength. Now, imagine me as a woman getting hit down from behind on the concrete, on the sidewalk, trying to somehow get my arm up to be able to swing and hit her with enough force for that self defense tool to work. It will not work. I mean, some people may disagree with me on this, but there's no way that self defense tool is going to work. Even if you're a very strong man, if you're laying on the sidewalk with your hands on the sidewalk and you are trying to get enough force to move an attacker off of you, it's unlikely that it's going to work. I mean, even as just statistically speaking, women have a lot less strength and a lot less force behind them. Imagine trying to do that even from an unfavorable position. I don't think it's going to work. That's why I suggest stun guns are just better for that because there's no force required. It's going to deliver pain to your attacker immediately, whether you have any force or not. You literally just have to touch her with it. So I think having my stunner would have been so much better in that situation than trying to depend on physical force or my pepper spray. That just was not what was needed in that situation. So this is just PSA. There are situations that your self-defense tool might not work in. And then I think most importantly, the fourth lesson that I learned is to get away from the situation. Yeah, would it have been maybe satisfying to go back and yell at her? I mean, my friends did go up and try to ask the guy, like, what the heck happened? Why did she just get attacked? But I think you're putting yourself in an even more dangerous situation because the attack did stop. Not saying it would stop in every situation, but in mine, it did stop. I think the smart situation would be immediately for all four of us to have gotten away, gotten in the car, called the police. I think because you never know what one that person has in that car. Two, they could claim that you are threatening them after that. And four, you don't know if that woman's going to get back out again and come attack you. So I just think it's good for a big lesson to get out of the situation, call the police, do what you need to do to get safe. This is what I learned in Krav Maga. I did Krav Maga for about 8 or 9 months. And my instructor was very specific about you need to get out of the situation as soon as you can. You don't stay to serve your own type of justice. It's not going to serve you well. You can end up getting hurt or worse. So my suggestion would be to leave. Now, is it great that the police and the detectives in Austin did not catch her? No. Do I regret not getting into a further altercation with her? No, I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad that I got out of there safely. But, maybe this is just a lesson also that um, we may not get safety from the police. I'm not saying that the Austin police aren't great and they're doing a great job, but in my personal situation, I wasn't served justice and they weren't there to protect me in that moment. Not that they can be everywhere, but my suggestion would be to protect yourself at all costs, first and foremost. And whatever happens afterward is out of your control. And as long as you protect yourself and your life, that is the most important thing. Nothing else is as important as making sure that you are safe and out of that scary and violent situation. So if you guys, so there's anything to learn from my situation, it's those four things. Do not assume that a woman is not a threat. They can be. Do not assume that people in a group of someone that you know who seems friendly, seems like they're all cool, is going to be friendly and safe with you as well. I would assume that anyone you don't know well or that you don't know could be a threat to your safety. 3, if you're being attacked from behind or pushed down, weapons with requiring force may not be effective, and pepper spray may not be effective. So I once again would suggest something like a stun gun to protect you in that situation. And 4, get out of the situation as soon as possible. Protect yourself, protect your friends, get out of there. You don't need to stay and try to fight for some justice or some other reason at the scene. Those are the big lessons that I learned from my crazy 6th Street story. I thought it would be great to just open up and be vulnerable with you guys about one of my scary stories about self-defense. I have a lot more that I plan on sharing throughout this channel and podcast. Some of them are much harder to talk about. This one is difficult to talk about, but I feel like it's just so crazy that sometimes I even am like chuckle because I'm like, that I can't believe that happened. Um, but this whole self-defense channel, we're gonna also talk about specific products, other practical use cases for self-defense, other people's stories too, not just mine. We're gonna talk about what other people have done to help themselves in scary situations. So I hope you guys enjoy, follow along. I hope you learned something from my story and subscribe, and we can continue talking about crazy self defense situations products that you might want to carry, and real use cases. So, subscribe for episode number 2 coming out next week. Thanks.